You can make some notes on the notes. But most of it really is just complete. Friends,
To see what we do on a daily basis, and you get everything you know.
All right, it's 7:00. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the November regular meeting of the Arlington Board of Education. Tonight's meeting is being held in compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, a copy posted right over there on the side of the wall. So we'll go ahead and take roll and call the meeting to order at 7:00.
Matt O'Daniel.
Here.
Shannon Beaumont.
Here.
Hang on a second, I'm sorry, I am not in the right thing. Let me try this again. How about Jason Arp,
Yes.
Cassie Plusky,
Here.
Here.
Chase Cradwell,
Here.
Brian Locker,
Here.
Matt O'Daniel,
Here.
Shannon Beaumont.
All right, we have a quorum. Let's say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, the first item on our agenda, item 1.4, is the approval of this evening's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve our agenda?
I motion to approve the regular meeting agenda as presented.
Thank you, Cassie and Chase. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, let's vote, please.
Matt O'Daniel,
Yes.
Shannon Beaumont,
Yes.
Jason Arp,
Yes.
Cassie Plusky,
Yes.
Chase Cradwell.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
All right, very good. Motion carries. Item 2 on the agenda is our public forum. Is there anybody here tonight that wishes to address the board? If so, there's a sign-in sheet. Seeing none. Come on, kids.
Seniors, anybody?
Yeah.
Volunteers tribute, anybody?
Sing, you can sing. So that leads us into our consent agenda. Item 3 on the agenda, 3.1, is the minutes of the previous board meeting, monthly financial reports, etc. Dr. Lewis, is there anything you want to just touch on here quickly, or?
Yep, there was
Yeah.
one bill in there for Odie's for seating. It said, but that was actually 3 separate bills. One was for grass work on the football field and the practice field. And then we, a couple weeks later, had some work done in like our common areas, like around the building out here where the sod didn't really take really well. And then finally, it also included some paint for the football field. So that was not one bill that exceeded, it was 3 separate bills.
Okay.
And there were a couple of hand payables. You'll see that, like, to, for example, American Broadband, it missed the last board meeting, so we paid it beforehand, and then there's another American Broadband bill in our regular bills. So just if you're wondering why there were 2 there. And then we will have our budget in and percentages ready for you to go in December. Now that we're finished with the audit, we can talk to ESU about getting this year's budget uploaded so we can start comparing where we're at year to date with where we were last year and things like that.
So, Dr. Lewis or Jen, has the budget not been uploaded yet then?
We're working off of the budget that we set and established, but it is not yet in e-finance for the beginning balances. So all the codes are in and everything like that, and we're able to pay our bills and everything like that. This is just the piece that we're put in our starting, well, it's not even, of the budgeted amount.
Yes.
Those are just the pieces that are missing in e-finance. It doesn't prevent us from doing anything in there, except generating those comparative reports.
Got it. So, and that's what you use the percentage worksheet off of, I'm assuming. Did we change something from last year? Because we saw it this time last year, that's the reason I'm asking.
Did we? I didn't think we had them until a little bit later as well, again, because we have to close out the fiscal year, and we keep that open until the audit is done, because sometimes there's adjusting entries that have to be made, and you can't make those if you've already closed out the year. And that's always due on November 5th, so there'll always be a couple of months here that we don't have those. I could go back and look if we did.
Because we haven't seen them since July.
Right. Maybe August, but,
We saw July's in August,
right.
so.
So, but that's when we started working on the audit and everything like that. So anyway, we'll get it for you. And I'm not sure why we didn't do a percentage one in
Just because it was
September or
the
August.
year, and I guess I just didn't do it, so.
We were already running reports through the budget process, and those were entered in the budget, like where we were total. And we knew that we were under budget, so I don't know why we didn't do them that last month of the year. But we can't upload the new one until we close out everything in the final year.
Are
Now
we
can.
able to see a year-end one though? So we can see
Yeah.
what the year-end looked like?
Yep, and actually I have
Percentage
financial statements too. That's what
Yeah.
the audit will show you, is where we ended the year.
Okay.
But we'll talk about those later in the meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, the AFR and the auditor done and uploaded and everything like that. So that will be the year-end audited figures. Where we ended up.
And those were uploaded November 1st, right, correct?
November 5th,
Okay.
6th this year, because the 5th was a Sunday.
Any other questions? No, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Any motion, do you have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jason and Chase. Been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Let's vote, please.
Shannon Lamont.
Yes.
Jason Art.
Yes.
Cassie Clausen.
Yes.
Chase Cotterill.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Matt O'Donnell.
Yes. All right, motion carries, motion passes. We have, everybody probably saw Dr. Lewis's email that went out. We have no curriculum or instruction reports. In November, we may change the order of that next year so that,
I'm pretty sure that we will. It's been years since they had.
Been ready.
Jackie said she recalls when we probably adjusted from October to November, because they used to,
Mhm.
they used to be able to get us data in October. And now they've missed the November target for at least 4 years now. So we'll probably just make that a permanent December.
What causes them to embargo that data for a period of time?
That's a great question. They embargo that data because people are like they send it out to us so we can look at it, and then people look at their data and they go, wait a minute, and so they start requesting changes and things
Oh.
like that. So they embargo it until they are certain that they have worked out the kinks and they have.
They're confident
accurate
that it's all
data.
accurate.
Yeah, until they're confident that what they have is accurate.
Fair enough. So that brings us down into our principals reports, and leading us off is Dr. Jackie Morgan with the news from the elementary school.
Yes, well, good stuff happening in the elementary. 97% attendance in parent-teacher conferences, so fabulous there. We had some Halloween happening not so long ago. There were parties. There's the staff and all their construction gear, so it was a fun day. We did move the parade back inside because it was a bit chilly. So it was good turnout of families to come watch that parade, and then some celebrations after. We did have our biannual fun run. Students got pledges and then participated in that hour-long fun run. We raised over $20,000. About our take home after that's 21 something. So big success there. That money you may remember we used to purchase extra things on the playground. We used that to pay for field trips. We used that to get things for special presentations in classrooms, things like that. So good money's there. Bowling, so the goal was $20,000 if the kids met it, we took them bowling. So we had every kid, K through 6, bowl, not all at the same time, they went in shifts, hour-long shifts, but some fun pictures there. I could not tell you how many kids have said they never bowled before. So it was super fun to watch that. The bowling alley, Ferry Bowl at Fremont is where we did it, and they did like a Halloween theme because it was the week
Mhm.
of Halloween and they had spooky music playing and the lights down, and it was super fun. And then we had Veterans Day, which a lot of you know, the kids got to sing a song and celebrate those who have served our country. That's where we are.
Good stuff. The 20,000 we raised, how was that compared to previous years? That number looked like it was a really good number.
So each year that we have participated,
Mhm.
they ask us to increase about 2,000 for our goal
Yeah.
over the top of what we raised the 2 years prior to.
Mhm.
So last year or last time, so 2 years ago, we were right about 18.
Yeah.
And then 2 years before that, we were right about 16, so.
Keeps
Yeah.
getting bigger, yeah.
Yeah, so,
That's
and the
great.
kids do a great job, and it's a super fun day. It's exhausting.
Mhm.
Maybe more so for the adults even than the kids, but, we always challenge ourselves to run with them and we pay for it for the next 2 weeks, so it's good stuff. Then we have bowling with them, which is also another muscles you don't
Right.
use on a regular basis, so. Maybe I'm just getting older, I don't know. I don't know. So, young at heart,
A little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything.
Thanks, Jackie. Any questions before we move on? No? Okay. Mr. Fingston?
We did not go bowling, sorry. Seniors.
Yeah.
First thing on here is just some metro numbers. Just total credit hours and all of that, what kids are enrolled in. Again, some of the changes you see, the college now, credit hours went from 16.5 to 185. Before this year, they did not calculate the summer hours in that, so there's the difference there. We had a little bit of a drop with Kickstart hours, but if you look at how many students that were affected by taking some classes, we still went up in numbers from 72 to 75. So total credit hours were right on par with where we have been the year before. Just captured what we actually teach concurrent enrollment and who teaches that here in that chart below there. So we have 4 teachers who teach what used to be called dual enrolled, but concurrent enrolled classes that really, the more of those we can have, the better offerings we have for our kids, because we have the teacher here on campus, whereas the Kickstart or the online that Metro provides. Helps budget, but better experience when we have the teacher here. I captured our Veteran Day program as well. Put a link there if you missed it. It is out on our strive.tv channel, so you can capture it or catch what you wanted to there. Sorry about the formatting with our parent-teacher conference information. The one that I sent in that was down on page 2. We had 44% broken down by classes. We have open house style, so they can come and go as they please. And really, that's about where our numbers have been the last few years. The math department is working on some curriculum updates. They're piloting. I touched base with our department. They probably have a lean one way, right now, for a company that we currently use, but they're also piloting a different company as well. So be on the lookout for that in probably February, where we'll get you some numbers with some of what we would like for the board to consider for our new math curriculum. Food drive, FBLA does a phenomenal job. There's some numbers there for the food drive. We are, according to Mrs. Coger, and she is spot on with everything that she says, the single biggest donor, I think, still towards the Washington County Food Bank.
Wow.
Um,
And this year, our students brought in and families brought in over a ton of food. They weigh it now. She still keeps track of how many items, because that's how we used to do it by item, and that's how we do it classroom competition wise.
She did tell me that they stocked the food pantry with ramen noodles for the entire year.
Yeah, it was a lot. If you saw
So they're
some
very light,
pictures,
but they're
pictures
pretty
out there,
counts.
there was-
Yeah.
yeah, and the kids did a great job. Choir and band, we had Colby Ty, Maddie Musson, and Caitlin Camp for all states recognition. We did a little walk of fame for them this morning, or this at TA. So that's this week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, where they will represent us in Lincoln. And then we have a new fun tool or toy in industrial tech. So those are just some images from the laser engraver. Sorry, they're way better looking than if you see them in person. But those are some things that are on. Well, we'll have some cutting boards and things like that for Christmas. If you have an idea of wanting to get a personalized gift, that offer is out there through our industrial tech department. They're going to use that as a fundraiser for some of the competitions and different things that they have coming up that especially hit skills in the spring. So it's really, we got it through Perkins money. So that's always something every year where we decide to get a little allotment of Perkins money and what we want to use it for. So this is what we went for. The day we got it, Mr. Daigle had it set up in his room and we were burning into the wood right away. So anyway, they're very detailed and it's something we haven't had back there. So, we can talk about creating our own, awards and different things like plaques and different things like that. It's a possibility now, so.
You will engrave on a variety of things too, not just wood.
Yeah.
So you can, there was still experimenting with
Yeah.
that, but there's certain types of like polymers and plastics that they can get that they can burn into and they can do some other things like that as well. I've even seen it done on leather. I don't know if Eric's experimented with that yet or not.
I don't know
It's
about that.
really neat.
Where that may affect you is ventilation. Right now, we have it in an old painting closet. It was in the room, and then it smelled like a campfire in the room, which was not a bad smell.
Yeah.
So then now it's an old painting closet room that vents out to the shop, but it's not really, it's venting out to just a bigger area. So obviously there's an odor when you're burning wood. So some opportunities there with just other things going on down in that area.
Did he send that order form out to just the staff?
That's a good question. I think it might have just gone out to the staff.
for now?
I think, so with that is purchasing wood and getting it all pieced together and sanded and planed and all that kind of stuff. And understanding like how many orders may he be taking in with how many kids would be a part of the advanced woods class to be able to make that work for him.
Scheduling.
Yeah.
He didn't know if he'd get, 5 people who'd be interested, or if he put it out there like, oh,
50.
hang on, there's, 100 of these and we can't crank these out by Christmas or whatever else. So that I'm not sure, but I can get you more information on this thing on that.
Very cool.
Any questions from Mr. Pinkston? No. We'll jump back after Mr. Shady gets here and maybe have him roll through his activity report first before we get into any of the other discussions.
Before we move on through the principal's report, I just want to tell you guys that I came to the Veterans Day service and it was phenomenal. You guys did a really great job. I did watch Blair and a couple other ones live or whatever. But Arlington did a great job. And I saw a few, like there was a couple other people on Facebook and different people that I saw in the community that just have, like they love coming to the Veterans Day service at Arlington because it's so good. When those little kids sang, it was amazing. Our choir and band did fantastic. They worked together, which was really cool. I mean, it was a really great service. So,
There's lots of hands
Kudos.
that puts that together.
Yeah.
And teachers leave different parts of it, and our music teachers do a great job putting all of that.
Yeah, my mom and dad were there and they said it was unbelievable. And they said that, because they went to Arlington and Blair and then they went to Schuyler. Schuyler had one out there because their granddaughter's out there in it. So they went to both of them and he says, Dad said, hands down, Arlington had the best one. So
Yeah.
he says, kudos to you guys for doing that. And they really enjoyed the breakfast before and all that. So they did that too. So
Awesome, great.
What a great event, yeah.
The last, just so you're aware, the last piece, the video piece, we've had a variety of different things. We always try to do something a little different, with that kind of end wrap it up type of thing, so it doesn't just become stale as well. So we try to make that happen, so. And we also knew that, FBLA was gonna be going on Veterans Day Observe the Friday, so that's why we went on Wednesday. And I don't know, that probably limited some, but it might have brought a couple in who couldn't have made it on Friday, so. And we
It's
do
kind of nice to
appreciate-
do them on different days than everybody else
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which was good.
So you can do more.
Yeah.
We do appreciate that, and, we're, like afterwards, we encourage the students to say hi to the veterans and just, appreciate you for your service and everything. A lot of the times, myself or others that are kind of able to stay there and say hi, we get that feedback from those that showed up or have their
Yeah.
grandchild there or whatever else, so we try to pass that on to everybody who's involved in that, so we do get a lot of compliments on it. So and it's something we appreciate the support of the school, the district, to be able to put on.
Yeah, Dad said that's a big deal, because he was there, and he said he goes, kids bugged me, he said, I didn't even know who they were,
Yeah,
and that's a big deal for them people, so.
yeah, well, it is part of, we believe it's very important too, so.
Well, what a great event to, kind of obviously showcase the kids and what our school is and how we connect with the community.
Yep.
And so it's can't be a better way.
Yep.
So, thank you, Cassidy, for the compliments. So we're in the superintendent's report already, aren't we?
Okay, so discussion of the financial statements review process. What we have done in the past is, the auditors schedule a meeting with our finance committee. But Matt, Chase and I have talked about this a little bit. I think Chase was in it. Anyway, like maybe we should make that a full board workshop prior to the December board meeting rather than just the finance committee. So everybody has the same opportunity to review the financial
Yeah.
statements before they vote to approve them.
Yeah, and actually, I'll give Chase credit for this. He reminded me of this. I remember last year when we looked at the audits, the three people that were not in the finance committee, felt like they didn't have enough time to review them. So I think that's the best way. The auditor actually presents that audit to the finance committee, and rather than making that a committee meeting, we'll make it a workshop, so to speak. It'll be advertised, and we can have all six of us here to take that information in and have the opportunity to ask questions, before we have the December board meeting and vote on accepting it. So we're just throwing this out here, opening up for feedback. If anybody has other ideas, we're more than flexible here.
Thanks, great.
Yeah.
It's
Shannon,
good to have.
I think
more
you're
informed.
kind of one of the ones that got stuck with 10 minutes to. Okay, so we'll have to,
I'll make sure that we'll coordinate with Brenda's schedule
Okay.
and then we can get here, then, I mean, if it works to just do it at 6:00 before the board meeting, is that? Because otherwise I'm having to advertise another one and that means we can't do it within the next 2 weeks anyway, so then we're right up to it anyway, because with a full board workshop, I have to have so many days before we.
to get it advertised.
Well, that's it, I'm gonna be out of town next board meeting,
Oh, okay.
so it's up to you guys, if you wanna have it, but I gotta be out of town.
Oh, that's fine.
So it's not a big,
Is this the 11th?
Okay.
The
no
11th?
problem.
Is everybody else solid for the December meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Can 6:00 doable to be here? Does that work for you, Shannon? Okay.
So I'll talk to Brenda and
All right.
see if December 11th at 6:00 will work for her.
And then we'll get you a copy, Brian,
That's fine,
when you're back.
that's fine.
We might be able to, if you're available, we might be able to conference call you in or something like that, or just put you on speakerphone so you can hear it too if you want, and then we can get
That's fine,
I can email the
Yeah.
draft copy, you just don't have the bound copy until you get back.
that's fine. I'll get a bound copy from you when I get back.
Okay. Because there's a lot of information in that, and if you're just looking at it, it can be really confusing because it's a big booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll try and get that scheduled. The NASB and NERCS updates are attached in there. You guys can take a look at those. just a reminder, and I don't know, probably the best place to say, transportation to the State Board of Education conference on Thursday morning. If you need a ride, we'd be here by 7 is about the time we usually leave, and we will take a school van together. Usually we end up with a van and like somebody's personal vehicle, just in case somebody wants to stay or somebody has something to do afterwards or something like that. So
So remind me, when is the last scheduled, right, usually it's 3:30 or so?
the last session usually is scheduled to, at like 3:30 or 3:45, usually done by like, I think sessions are all done by like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. something like that.
Okay.
Instead with the other reviews that come out in the evening, so.
All right, well, if it's, doesn't matter anybody else, I can plan on taking the car down, anybody wants to jump in with me.
Am I driving?
Okay, if anybody needs to leave earlier.
You need a tissue? You sure?
And then, I'll just come up here and meet it, whatever. If anybody wants to jump in with me, let me know, and we'll coordinate that.
Okay.
We have to leave Arlington when?
I can drive too.
I think, so we are scheduled for the breakfast, I mean, we could leave a little bit earlier, we could leave at like 6:45, and then have to. leave my
In the morning?
school.
That's what my daughter would say, in the morning.
I'm like,
Quarter to
he's
7
joking.
in the morning.
Let me just.
No,
see
the
if they
night
have
before.
the agenda.
We're saying the night.
Okay, so here's they do have the. So schedule at a glance, so, 8:15 to 9:30 is the opening keynote speaker, so that means breakfast actually starts at like 7:30.
So that's about right,
7:30. And,
quarter to 7.
hey, and you've all been there, you know what chaos it is in the morning, so
Mhm.
let's go ahead and plan at 6:45.
Yeah.
From here.
Okay.
Okay. And then it looks like the last session goes from 3:30 to 4:30 on
Mhm.
Thursday afternoon, so.
Okay.
There's years when they haven't had a lot of things that looked interesting, when we skipped that one, there's
Mhm.
years that some have stayed and some have gone.
Yeah.
There's years that they've had some really good stuff and we've stayed for all of those, so. Worst case scenario, we're back to Arlington by 5:15, 5:30, could get going right after that last session.
All right.
But it could be earlier, okay.
Okay.
So I believe, Matt emailed everyone today. I completed my self-evaluation last week, so you guys have that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, self-evaluations, came to me today and got forwarded out to all the other board members. Also, everybody, I think, had the link for the superintendent evaluation. Those are due back
22nd.
22nd, so that is a week from this Wednesday. We've got a little over a week to complete them. And then they'll compile all the information and send me the completed copy back November 30th. And then I'll get that out to the board members and we'll have it for the December board meeting. That's when we actually conduct the evaluation. So if this is your first roll through it, Cassie and Brian, you know if you got any questions or, but it's pretty straightforward. Just text me, email me, whatever. The NASB tool that we've used, this is the 3rd year we've used it. Yeah, it's really nice. It makes it, it's a great tool and it gives us historical data too to look back on. So every year we use it, I like it more. So get that done. If you wait, you'll start getting really encouraging emails from Katie at NASB, and then it'll be followed up by phone calls. So she's good at her follow-up.
Is that speaking from experience?
Well, they also copy the board president on all of them, and they start
Oh.
going out, so, yeah. I think that covers that.
I think that covers that.
All right, 6.5, Dr. Lewis.
And that is
6.4.
6.4, the annual report.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, we won't talk about that an awful lot, but if you have ever just a burning desire to know more about what the service unit does, For us, they support us as far as like technology backups and some consorted things like that. We can get some services for like network protection and things like that. And they've got great professional development for us. They offer a lot more than that. A lot of things that we don't necessarily, like we've been able to accomplish on our own here, but they have a lot of services available to their member districts, and including like an alternative school and they purchase hours for school psych and things like that, which we have done in the past. Before we had our own school psych, we would occasionally purchase some hours for them to do some evals if we ran out of time on whoever we were contracted with and we couldn't get more. So they're just also like our finance system and not Power School, but our old SMS was through ESU as well. So they just try and help us by consorting funds and making the most of everybody's dollars to get better services program. So you can kind of review that. There's lots of things that they do. And then I'll talk a little bit about the Rule 10 compliance visit that we had last week. So Sandy suitors from the Department of Education came out. She said it is their goal. There's 3 of them doing compliance visits this year. It's their goal to, I think, get a Rule 10 compliance visit done in every district in the state in 3 years. I think that's what she said, right? She did find because, so I had.
So can you back
Rule
up a little bit
Yeah.
for all of us?
Yep, I will tell
Rule
you that.
10.
Rule 10 are it's like the handbook for schools. Like these are the things that you have to have.
Okay.
You have to have so many hours of this, and all of your teachers have to have the appropriate certificates and your endorsements here, and this is how you have to run your library, and if you have this many students, this is how many guidance counselors you need, and how many principals you need, and
Okay.
things like that. So it gives us guidance on things like that. Everything, like.
So they're doing a top to bottom.
They're doing a top to bottom, and we sign off every year, like, yes, we do that, yes, we do that, and we go through our assurances. And we turn that into them, and then they send us that on the wall that says you're good to go. I mean, that along with our 5-year visit says that we are accredited and we're meeting everything. But they are supposed to be visiting schools to like make sure that they're actually doing what they're saying they're doing. So to me, this was not like unheard of. I had a Rule 10 compliance visit in Arnold and Callaway when I was out there, and I don't know if they were just doing Class D schools that year because they knew they had some PE things going on that they wanted to pay attention to, but that was when I was a principal in Arnold yet. So this has probably been, that was probably 14, 13 years ago that they were out there. So she did tell us Arlington has not had a Rule 10 compliance visit for at least 20 years. Because nobody here remembered, and some of these people weren't administrators yet, and they're panicking a little bit because they've never heard of the Rule 10 compliance visit. And I'm like, what do you mean? So anyway, At least I've been through it before, so I kind of knew what to expect. They gave us lots of opportunities to like provide evidence that we're doing what they're saying we're doing. There's some things that have to be in policy, and we showed them our policies, and that was great. There's some things that aren't in policy, and if they aren't in policy, they either take like handbook evidence or they take your word for it. And like, yeah, we could print you. There's some things on athletic participation and things like that, interscholastic between like elementary students, and then some different rules that govern junior high, because junior high and K-6 athletics and sports are not governed by the NSAA. So they kind of fall in that. And I said, well, we can print rosters so you can see that everyone competing is either 7th or 8th grade. She said, no, it's good as long as you're telling me that, and that's how you want to have it. I will believe you. So they met on some things. But it is pretty detailed. So the one thing that we were missing was a policy on seclusion and restraint, which surprised me because I thought we had a policy on seclusion and restraint. We did not. So we will introduce a policy on seclusion and restraint, use of seclusion and restraint as punishment in December, and do a second reading in January, and then we'll be in good shape. She has to go through some of the documents that were submitted in folders yet to give us the final go-ahead, but the visit went great. She was very kind and gracious. She was complimentary. Our staff thought it went great. She talked with the admin team and the curriculum director and the librarian and the student student records person, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that was about a 2-hour visit last Thursday.
Did she just like show up? Or did you?
No, we knew she was coming, yeah,
Okay.
and like there was a Zoom in advance prepare, and she gave us a document on Google Drive to upload things to in advance, and a whole bunch of folders and things like that. So we had quite a few things uploaded in advance, and then there were a few things that we found paper copies for her, presented to her while she was here. So,
That brings us into our committee reports. The first on there is negotiations committee. We have met, had our first meeting with the AEA. Cassie and Chase and I met with them.
the 30th, yes, the 30th.
Yeah, the 30th. We met, had a good meeting, and we have a meeting scheduled for November, towards the end of November, if that holds. So, yeah, we look forward to that, and look forward to this year of negotiations with them. I think professional development, Sharon, the only thing to speak of there is the NASB conference coming up on Thursday. I don't know if there's anything that's been done since our October board meeting with professional development. Bring board members, but possibly, okay. And then the finance committee meeting that we need to have scheduled, I think we just did.
We took care of that,
Yeah.
and we'll get that scheduled for sure. I'll email everybody when Brenda confirms that will work.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to Mr. Shaver's report?
Yeah, we can jump back up there now. Mr. Shada, we're gonna jump back up to your report.
All right, thank you guys.
Mhm.
Just a couple of recaps from the fall here. One, Haley O'Daniel was 7th place in the Class C cross-country meet, so congratulations to you and your family, Matt, and congratulations to their team as well. The boys team did qualify as a team as well, so had a great season there. Also, congratulations to the volleyball, softball, football, and girls golf teams this fall. A couple key dates to make you aware of, go down there. There's a couple fun things happening this next couple days as we get ready for the winter seasons. The 20th, next Monday, is the Capital Conference competition in Manly for the one I play, and then Tuesday night we have the home performance next Tuesday there for them. Other things happening this coming Friday is Meet the Eagles for the basketball teams. For both boys and girls teams, we'll do something fun there with them and the youth that will be there. And then next Tuesday, we will also have, after the one I play at 6 o'clock, so it's a fun night. 6 o'clock is the one I play, and then at 7 o'clock in the main gym, we have the superhero showdown with the wrestling teams there too. So I got a couple fun different twists on that evening. Some good time. One act is at Districts in Wayne. I think we do the short straw on the drive there on the 28th. And then our winter concert is December 14th. You can also see some honorable mention, first and second team softball there. I'm not sure down below. There's an old one down there. I apologize. There's some disregard the Omaha World Herald there. I apologize. But Britt Nielsen was first team all conference. And so was Riley and Lydia Shotfield. Second team, Tessa Spivey and Callan Reed. Honorable mention for softball. And then just came out on Sunday, Britt Nielsen was second team All-State by the Omaha World Herald. So just close. First team makes you onto the Hall of Fame, so real close there. So congratulations to Britt and Nielsen there. So I apologize for having those in there. On the volleyball team, I'll mention was Austin Flesner and Macy Wolf. Okay.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Questions for Mr. Shada? Okay. We have no unfinished business this month. So that brings us into New business, item 9.1, discuss, consider, take necessary action to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Jobs for America's Graduates program beginning with the 24-25 school year. Sounds like a pretty neat program. Who wants to?
Aaron and I probably kind of tag team it and we'll go back and forth. But so Jobs for America's grads came, I think Mrs. Toff brought it to us and we're like, this sounds really interesting. Let's bring them in and talk to them. So the JAG representatives came and visited with Holly and Aaron and I about the program. What they do is they bring you a teacher. They hire you a person who comes to your school and works with kids anywhere from grades 7 through 12 on employability skills, career choices, different explorations and things like that. They come to you free for the first 2 years, knowing that the third year there's a commitment of $10,000 on the school district. But this is a teacher who can help you with other duties as well too. They want them involved with the kids. They want them to get to know the kids. So they said, yeah, give them a study hall, give them morning duty, give them lunchroom, things like that. So you really treat them like a staff member who is on your staff and they're your JAG representative. And so then they worked with, so we're planning, and Aaron will probably take over from here, but we're planning on using this person, if the board approves this position for us, to like start introducing like career things down in 7th grade and 8th grade and making that an elective option for them there. You want to kind of speak some more about that?
Yeah. Really presented to us an opportunity to bring in somebody at a very no cost for us other than, providing the room and space in our schedule and that type of stuff until year 3. Year 3 is a $10,000 commitment with the district. The teacher is hired by JAG, but we are involved in the hiring process. So it kind of looks like they have 3 applicants, something like that. They vet the applicants, then they come to us and do an interview just as a teacher would do an interview with us. So we have say in who that person would be at our campus. And then that person teaches a careers class or classes. We pictured, and they're a Nebraska certified teacher. We picture this being an elective class. We picture it being, a partnership, hopefully that continues on with the Jobs for American Graduates program. So what that goes into and what I think the idea behind it is they kind of track their program and kids who have been through their program and how successful they are with post-secondary employment, post-secondary colleges, trade schools, different things that way because of the skills that they hit on. I think they said they have somewhere between, I think it's up to 87 competencies that they try to incorporate into their curriculum. They said anywhere from 37 to 87 of them, depending on if it's a year, if it's a semester, if it's a 2-year program, if it's a middle school program. So it varies depending on the setup and the arrangement that we have. They do try to limit class sizes in those classes. I forget the exact numbers, but something like 16 or fewer or something like that.
I think they want to work with at least, I think their target is between 25 and 40 students throughout the school at different times, you know what I mean, but broken into different class sections.
So we see it being as a benefit to us and to our students with some more additional career focused type skills, different things that way.
We really think it fosters that passion purpose pathway that we've been talking about, really leads towards that pathway, and we've got lots of board goals that this is going to help move the dial on as well.
Yeah. So a couple of different schools that have this implemented for this school year at a variety of different levels. Like one uses at the middle school level. I think we're going to probably target maybe like 9th grade or early high school level, and just see what that looks like to start with. But that's kind of where we're at. The commitment for us is the commitment to, I think it's a year commitment. I don't think they're asking for more than that, other than the knowledge of there is a financial commitment in year 3.
And I do think, I think the MOU is for a 3-year commitment.
Is it?
I think so.
So
And I
is
think
the-
it would be beginning with the.
Is the
24.
first year or the first like commitment going to be a 3-year commitment or contract? And then following that, is it a year to year or is
That's
it then
I think that was my understanding, but Mrs. Toft will probably be able to answer that question better, and I can ask her and email that out. But
so like after that 3rd year, we know that that 3rd year is gonna be 10,000, but what is it year 4?
And I don't know if you do another 3-year commitment after that, or if you just do year by year. We'll find that out.
So they're here throughout the school year, the same schedule,
Mhm.
any other?
Yeah, just like a teacher on the schedule, yeah.
So this is just curiosity, if you don't know, it's fine. So how are they funded?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think they've got some business partners that see the value of this. They've got some grant funding. But I think a lot of it is this Jobs for America's grads was kind of developed by industry
Here's,
to get employees,
um,
to build their base.
they're affiliated with United Way of the Midlands. So 501c nonprofit organization, so.
That tells me everything.
Yeah, there you go. They said something like their goal was to be in 60 schools, is that right? Something like that.
statewide?
And they,
I've
yeah,
listened to
and
2
they
or
were
3
in,
different ones of these, like in the past couple of weeks, and I don't remember which is which.
and they're full for next year, so.
I think that. I
We
think they
were
I
on a
think
waiting
they,
list.
I thought we had moved up. I thought we had moved off waiting list and they would,
No, we are now.
we are
Yep.
on. So we initially said, yeah, put us on the waiting list and we'll see what the board says. And she said, we can just put you on there if you're interested, you know?
Yep.
And I think within a few days, we have moved onto the list. So if you approve tonight, we're good to start for 24-25 school year.
The limited feedback that I've received from principals who have this is that it's been a good thing and it's an emerging program in their buildings.
Like, decent, good participation kids. and
Yep, and what they're doing
that
is.
grows, I'm sure, every year.
Legitimate, it was legitimate skills for employability, for just overall, soft skills, all that.
And, I mean, we have a program that some of our seniors take if they do school to work, and it's great, and they learn a lot of those things, but they don't learn until they're a senior. You know?
This would kind of be like a stepping stone to figuring out and being able to do that school to work.
It might lead that, or it might lead them towards just help them kind of, I can't think of the word, discern,
Yeah,
like what they really enjoy doing and be prepared when they go out there
Narrow
to
their
interview for
interests a little
jobs.
bit.
Yeah.
it's more robust than, like now, our students may like take career interest inventories, different things like that. That there's, a little bit of follow-up to and all that kind of stuff. This would be complete more wraparound service with that, with goal settings and different things like that, and just a variety of different things. So it'd be, instead of a unit as part of the careers class in 8th grade, it would be, this is what the class is. So,
Yeah.
and we haven't gotten anything, because we gotta get approval. We envision this being elective credit for a semester's credit. And then open it up to students to choose this as an elective credit.
Just seniors, juniors, seniors.
For now, I think freshman, sophomore type focus, yeah.
Nice.
Is there going to be like a requirement class beforehand? Like you have to take this before you can go and do that? Or-
That's not how we envision it.
So they're still part of the certificated staff?
Well, they are they're JAG teachers, but
But
they are certificated through ND, through,
But they're
Career
not,
and Tech Ed. I don't know which one it is.
yeah, our district won't be responsible for the insurance, the payroll.
Yeah.
Because they're not
Yeah.
technically our employees.
Yep.
But I do think they will be the teacher of record for those classes.
Yep.
So many, so they will be considered part of our staff, but not on our contract.
We're always talking about ways to open the door for kids who, maybe their path isn't college after school or or traditional four-year colleges after high school. And this, I was looking at our mission statement here, right? In order to contribute to a global society, so giving them skills that they can go out and contribute in society, I think it's a great opportunity for them, And obviously it's new, we'll have to do it, evaluate it as we go, but it sounds like it's got positive feedback and it's a creative solution or offering. I think it's neat.
We offer it at Fremont High School. It's a really good program.
Very good to know. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Jobs for America graduates beginning the 24-25 school year.
Second.
Thank you, Chase. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Jason Arp,
Yes.
Cassie Plesner,
Yes.
Chase Cradville,
Yes.
Brian Longer,
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel,
Yes.
Shannon Moore.
Yes.
All right, very good. Motion carries. It's going to be exciting to see what
Thank
this is in a year.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it. Okay, item 9.2 is discuss and consider submitted proposal to take necessary action to approve purchase of digital scoreboards. Just to kind of review and bring everybody up to speed, last month we looked at this. We had one proposal. Jump in here if any of this is inaccurate, Dr. Lewis. We did send out a request for proposals, and we have multiple bids here that have come in. I think everybody's got copies of those in front of them, had them by email for maybe a week. Several
Yeah,
days.
they've had a spreadsheet since
Yeah.
last Friday, I think. yeah.
And then I asked Mr. Shada to put a spreadsheet together to make it easier for the board to compare these, get their thoughts together, have questions. And, I think there's a lot of questions. And that's that's why we're here. That's why it's on the agenda. So unless anybody else has another suggestion, I thought I'd kind of let Mr. Shada walk us through these proposals and have an open conversation here. If you have questions, board members, please jump in and ask Mr. Shada as you're going through them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start at? So we have several different people that have put things in, all a little bit differently. For the most part, there's two Nebraska-based companies, obviously Crouch Recreation / American Rip and Sign, and the Nebraska Sign, which is out of Lincoln. Former Coach Sports is out of Georgia, so I don't know how we got that, but that's where that is from. I definitely do a lot at the University of Kentucky, and Fair Play, and Score Vision are both out of Iowa. Urbandale, Score Vision, and Fair Play out of Des Moines. So both local there. If you want to look at the Fair Play, that's probably your most basic quote here. It's a single page. There, they break it down there into two boards. All these proposals basically are giving you a two-board option. So there's several different things that we asked out of Daktronics, and I can tell you why we like that the best here a little bit too. But they're offering you two boards, and that's it. They don't have any signage on the side of it that in terms of when we have sponsorships that are out there that are spoken for already as of this day. And so this is what two boards look like.
You know what? And I hate to do this to you,
You do it how you want.
but I'm gonna.
Mhm.
Can we back up and just get an update of maybe where we're at?
Yeah.
With our sponsorship dollars, and I think that's a really important piece of this too.
Let's talk about that, because that's been fun. So, you guys asked us to have, I believe, $112,000 by today, yes? All right, we are currently sitting at this moment, we have $147,500 donated towards this project already, so, in commitments. So we have exceeded that goal, and just really blessed to have that, from those companies. We have four companies that are in at the 5,000 a year for 5 years, as we call it, for 25,000, so that's 100,000. We have we have 3 companies currently in as the next founding partner. Those are 12,500 over the 5-year period. Those are 3 companies there, and then we have several more looking at it. 2 more at the premier sponsorship. So when asked to have 112, we were pretty excited to succeed that and keep going. We also have multiple people that are still looking to get back to us just because of the season of time that they're in, that within the next 10 days or so, we should have more that are looking at that anchor sponsorship, which is at 25,000.
Which we have 4 remaining, right?
We have 4 remaining open. Yep. And so pretty good thoughts that we can hopefully get 2 more of those filled pretty easy, and then a couple of the next 2 might be a little more work. I wouldn't lie to you if it wasn't, but we're excited to do that. Then on the other spots there, we're continuing to reach out to some of our smaller local businesses that have been very generous to continue to look at that they have talked to us that maybe meets their needs more, is $1,000 a year sponsor or $2,500 a year sponsor. So there is 3 left of the $2,500 a year, and there are 4 left of $1,000. So we really have gained a lot of ground in a hurry. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't shocked that we started at $0 a month from now, and then to have 147.5 is pretty awesome, which speaks to the commitment to these kids sitting right here and to you guys as a board. So that's pretty exciting. That's what that looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What do they like about that when we show them the prospectus that came from Krauts Direct and American Lift and Sign? They like seeing their names on there. They like seeing their sponsorship of our kids and our community. They like seeing how we can build the packages for their companies to be advertised there and support what we do as a school district. So that's what that piece looks like there. Okay.
I think the best thing for us to understand is the differences in what we're getting. So we know if we're comparing apples to apples here, when we're talking, with the screens, the technology, I'm looking at screen sizes, they all look pretty much the same.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's where I'd kind of like to go is we really have 4 proposals that are pretty similar, and then we have one that's not.
Yep.
So I guess to understand the differences.
Yeah, so the 4 that are similar there are just giving you the screens that go with it. So what's different between the one that I'm asking you to buy, which is the most expensive one, right?
Yep.
Yep. Which we raised the money for. So the 4 that are similar, you're just getting a screen. You're not getting a company that's gonna help you build the graphics for these founding partners that are wanting to be there. The thing about Daktronics and Crouch Recreation is that they are gonna have a team that helps us build these in-game sequences that we put together. So when Chase Cradaville sponsors one of these things, we get a 3-point shot, Chase Cradaville's face or whatever company you want comes across the screen, their ITs, but that's how this goes. So with Crouch Recreation, they help you build, which is through Daktronics. So the part that we really like about Daktronics there is they're gonna build these features with us. Not only are they gonna build it with us, they're gonna build it with our educational classes to help our kids become better users of this technology.
So to elaborate on that point a little bit,
Yeah.
please.
So the number one reason we reached out to Daktronics, Crouch Rec / American Lift and Sign, remember that buying them through Crouch Rec and American Lift and Sign saves you money. Buying them direct from Daktronics is more expensive because they're a vendor and they can buy it cheaper, right? The part that we really like is the Daktronics University and the piece that they work with our students and our staff to build the in-game sequences that you see and the commercials and the advertising. So not only are our kids going to get the same technology that when they go down to the state wrestling at CHI, when they go to Pinnacle Bank to watch state championships in Memorial Stadium, it's the same equipment that runs those. A, our kids will get to run the same equipment, and B, they're going to be trained on the same thing. And then that ties into what Daktronics has is Daktronics University. So if one of our students here graduates and says, hey, I want to go to stay in this field, they will help connect to the universities that they have those technologies through Daktronics. And a lot of them are getting hired on through the Husker Vision type places. I don't know what everybody else calls it. I just familiar with our states. And so that's that's kind of a big piece to that you don't see in these other bids. So what would happen is that, A, if you went with another bid, then we have to find somebody to make these anchor signs, these sponsorship signs. B, we have to do on our own how to put all these in-game promos that work together. Here, we're working with a company that not only helps us, but prepares our kids to take, to steal your word from a minute ago, global society, right? To make them better prepared for it. And so that's what really drew us into the Daktronics side of this. Does that make sense? Chase, does that answer your question there?
Yeah, so just to clarify, on the screens themselves and the tech side of things, there's absolutely no differences in these 5 proposals.
The screen size, I'd have to look through exactly, and we'd have to talk to someone, but the screen size is the same. There is lots of different updates that you could do in terms of the hertz and the
Like the
gigahertz.
fidelity and the, you
Mhm.
know, it's like, if you try to buy a flat screen TV, like.
Here's what I'll tell you. I talked to, I'll leave
Yeah.
local school things out because we're on the other. In talking to them, here's what you have, and some of them have cheaper ones. So, this happens a lot. A kickball hits it out of your PE class. Well, a lot of them are smaller TVs put together, not one big LED board. So then, a guy like myself from another school has to go and get it shipped from FedEx to replace the board, and they are then fixing it themselves. And this happens a lot locally. I can tell you the school if you want later. Here with Daktronics, because we're partnering with a local company, American Lift and Sign and Crotch Rec, if anything happens, we're then able to have site technicians come fix that, opposed to some of these companies that are not necessarily local to help put these things together. So, that's especially, I can't speak to the one out of Georgia, I don't know anything about them, but some of the other local ones are similar that way. And that's why a lot of schools have gone the more expensive route, because it's a better product and you get better customer service out of that deal, in terms of the fixed side of it. So,
What happens, you brought up a good point, what happens if a kid tosses a basketball at one of these screens?
what happens if it breaks or whatever?
Yeah.
We have them come out and fix it.
How likely is it going to break though? Like if I go out there and throw a ball at it, is it gonna,
Kid taking a half court shot at the buzzer. And the
Yeah.
ball, you know.
goes way off, hits it, is it gonna have
No,
cause damage?
you put your scoreboard where it's at right now that hasn't been hit by a half court shot yet, right?
Yes,
Uh,
but in the odd situation, we just spent $200,000-300,000 on a
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood of us having to fix it quickly?
I probably can't answer with the likelihood of having to fix it, but the good thing is that I'm not calling somebody a long ways away. So for example, take the Daktronics, the little board that sits up there right now. That wasn't working at one point in time. And so we called American Lift and Sign, and they brought out their technician guy named John, and he's able to come on his, day 2, called him on a Monday, he was there Tuesday afternoon, and gets it up and running again for us. A simple fix. That's the nice thing about it. Could it happen? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure it could. The piece that, we all worry about this day and age in terms of supply chain and things like that, being able to have somebody local to come fix these things is huge. What you probably don't know about Crouch Rec is American Lift and Sign. Since they put Daktronics boards in Memorial Stadium, those guys sit at every Husker football game and test all that stuff before the game and make sure it all runs, and they have to fix it on site if it breaks
Who
down.
does? Who sits there?
American Lift and Sign.
Okay.
They have to fix it. So then, not only are we tying with companies that can fix it, they also have the capability of fixing. They're not worried about Arlington, they're worried about the big dogs are paying millions of dollars. Does that make sense? So they're able to hold it. The other piece that was great about when we talked to Daktronics is we asked them this, because everybody worries about chips and all these things that seem to get backlogged. Their supply of these pieces is really solid. And it comes out of Sioux Falls. And that helps us quite a bit there too. So we're staying more local with those issues. It's a good point. 'Cause
What about, well, go ahead, but I was gonna ask, what about, so how long, you're looking at, we're asking these people to do a 5-year commit or 4-year commit or whatever. So how many years are you expecting something like this is gonna last? I mean, like the boards that have been in there, they've been in there since they built the gym, so.
Yeah.
I'm just asking
Good
are they saying anything? Are they telling you anything? I mean, because the biggest thing is, okay, it comes back, yeah, we got the money raised for these boards.
Yeah.
Okay, then who pays for the fixing?
Who pays for the fixing? Well, obviously that'd be us if it goes down.
Exactly, and that's what, and that comes out, that's a budget item, so that's why I'm asking,
Mhm.
about this, how long, do these last, or what's.
Right. And you have the warranty period on here that I'd have to relook at that they guarantee you for, which is great, too, Brian. How long is it updated? I mean, it's like any technology. And we appreciate the fact it's the most current. That's why we went this route. And, when the board said, let's look at scoreboards, let's look at the newest thing that we're into. Yes, it's a big chunk of change, but does it promote our kids better? Yes. Does it provide us better education or hands-on technology? Yes, for our kids, opposed to spending 50 to 100,000 on things that are, outdated, that we probably should look to the next direction. Is that?
Okay, I'm just wondering, because, I know how these things are, it's just like a computer, you buy it one day and the next day it's outdated. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, so the cool thing about that, let me answer it this way for you, is that through Daktronics, they help push the updates to you. And so they would work with our broadcasting class, they would work with us, they could push that out of Sioux Falls to us. And so they don't have to come on site to update those pieces. Yes, eventually the board will be outdated years and years down the road. But as they do that, they push those to you, just like, I don't know, your iPhone tells you it's gonna update overnight. It's the same idea. So they will push those to you. And then anything that we have to understand better, they walk us through. They have a team of people that come help do those if you have those questions too.
So besides the technology side of things and those updates, which I think we're probably all understanding that, of course, they're gonna send us updates.
Yep.
But the board itself,
Yep.
with the technology that's in the board, how long is the longevity on the board itself? Do you know that?
So we asked them about that, and they don't have, it's kind of like LED lights. There's nothing that's out there next. We haven't heard like, hey, if you turn these lights to LED, what's after that? There's nothing next. So this is that top end of that, yes. That makes
So
sense.
they're not coming to the point where, we're seeing that the backlighting in these goes out after 7 years. They don't know that yet because they're still new enough, or?
No, they know that, but they don't have a newer technology out.
Okay,
And
I would
ironically,
make this obsolete.
yeah.
okay.
Eventually, the nice thing is like that, pushing out technology. The other thing about some of those pieces you have is that because you have these pretty cool LED screens up there, you run it at 2%, like 2 out of 10. Because if you run it at 10, you're gonna be blinded. And
Well,
so-
there's times when you can adjust that if you need to. They're much easier to control as far as brightness goes.
Yep.
You don't just get one display. And the same thing with like the LED lights that we're upgrading the school to. I mean, we're expecting those to last like 3 to 4 times the length of a fluorescent bulb. You just don't have to replace them. And then kind of the cool thing about LEDs is if one of those tiny little LEDs goes out, the other ones kind of compensate in brightness. They make up for it. And so you would have to lose a lot of bulbs in an LED for something like that to be like, oh man, we can't even see that anymore to go into repair. That's just kind of the nature of LEDs in general.
Okay.
The others kind of compensate, and that's, I'm assuming that these boards are the same way. That's just what I know about LED lights. So we're assuming like when we switch to LEDs, we're not gonna have to change those frequently at all. It's just a better product than a fluorescent or an incandescent, all those things that are becoming obsolete. And like Mr. Shada said, there's not the next thing on the horizon yet.
Mhm.
LED is it.
Yep.
So,
So to be able to kind of compare like apples to apples a little bit here, because there is a really big difference, and obviously we understand the benefit of the educational aspect of it. That's
Yep.
why I feel like we moved forward with this from last meeting.
Yep.
But as you had said before, a lot of these signs, or the other companies, they're just giving us the signs. Is there a way that we can see what the amount is just for the signs, so that we can compare apples to apples? When it comes to the signs themselves, is that on that first page for
Yeah.
Crouch, that's what the signs are?
So one board from Daktronics is 196,665.
This is two.
that's two.
That's for,
That's
so that's
21
for
for 2 boards.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's 2
So
No, I
to
apologize.
compare on the spreadsheet that you gave us, or that was sent to us.
Yeah.
That would be a better comparison, that 196,665 would be a better comparison to the other 4 bids. Because that's just the boards.
Right,
That's not all the extra technology behind the boards, that's just for the boards. So we're still looking at a substantial amount more for the boards themselves, not including the technology that's within. And that's where I feel that, I mean, yes, of course we're getting more than just the boards,
Mhm.
but that's still a heck of a lot more than everybody else. And as board members, we have to be conscious of the dollars that we're spending, even though there are 147,500 roughly that are committed. How do we justify this expense that we're okaying, possibly, potentially,
Mhm.
for our district when it's a higher bid? I mean, the goal of the board is to be, at the middle or, spending our taxpayers' money wisely. When we look at this and we're going with the highest bid
Mhm.
that we were presented.
Well,
So it's really hard to justify, like, I see the benefit with the education side of it. It's more than just sports. Like, it's definitely more than just the basketball team gets to use this or the wrestling team. It's everyone from plays to graduation. I mean, there is a huge benefit with this technology, but being able to justify that to other people might be that don't listen to the videos or the meetings, might be a little more difficult, especially when we're going with the highest option. So that's where I wonder do these other companies, they don't have any of those offerings that Daxtronics has with the, like, integrating it into the classroom? Do they not offer that at all?
That's not something I'm aware of. We can always circle back and ask those things. But that's why every school's gone with Daktronics, because they have the tie into the classroom piece here.
Okay.
I think it goes back, if I were to try to answer your question, to what you guys asked, like, yes, it's the most expensive, and yes, I'm asking you to take a leap with us. But it's worth it because of the fact that if when you're buying technology, you don't want to buy a second-rate technology.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you can buy it, but then we'll have other issues down the line. They're the reason they're the leader in the industry because of those things. And you guys all do that in the different areas you guys work in. Sometimes it's worth putting the extra money into somebody you can really count on that will have it buttoned down for you. And if things arise, you can work on. Cassie, your point's right. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I would add, because we're going with the leader in the industry, we know that we'll get the best service, the best help when that arises. And it will. We will have that. Some of these other guys, we don't know that necessarily with them.
The only question I had on the spreadsheet you sent us, Mr. Shada,
Mhm.
it indicated these other quotes didn't have install. That's not what I see on these quotes, though. I see some of them do have install included.
Oh, did I miss that on there?
And I see some have shot clocks included as well.
Well, then, I guess I got a question. So the one from Nebraska signed, and I don't know anything about resolution and 640 by 1152 matrix or anything. I would assume bigger the number, clearer. Am I right or wrong?
I'm assuming that's your pixels.
Right.
Is what I'm assuming.
So,
That's the way I understand it.
because like their first one starts out at the same one like Daktronics is. And then it gets, I guess it's clear because the price goes up.
Yeah, but then when you flip the page and go to one, then it's only 3.9, so.
Yeah, is that the thickness?
No, it's resolution.
Yeah, so you have the higher resolution with 5.9. And then the cheaper one is what is it, 3.9 they listed at? 3.9.
Yeah, but the resolution.
I don't think it's like a normal TV, Jason.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one's a 5.9 and it's cheaper than the 3.9, so. I don't know.
Maybe these guys can answer that.
Not a clue.
So, backing up a little bit to the warranty question, it's a little concerning here. If you look on the second page of the Drought Direct bid, 5-year warranty parts coverage, 1-year warranty parts coverage.
Which one is it?
Yeah, which one is it? And, and then I'll circle back to kind of what Cassie's thoughts were. This is an interesting this is an interesting one for a board member because we're going out and we're asking for money to do this. We're not spending taxpayer dollars. It's not coming out of our general fund. It won't affect a levy. You know, and I brought one of the anchor sponsors in and marched in there and showed them the proposal for $260,000 and told them, here's what we're trying to do. We're gonna get 8 anchor sponsors. So that obviously, you know, comes to $200,000. The rest will be small donations. I'll guarantee you a spot up here, et cetera, et cetera. So I've kind of been, because when these other bids came back in, I'm going, my gosh, so then what do? You go, if you spend significantly less, what do you have to do with your sponsors? Do you go back and tell them, you know, I know we got $25,000 from them, but it turns out we only need 18, for example, or what do we do? How does that look? Okay. You know, and with the response that we've had so far for raising money with this, I'm pretty confident we can find the rest of it. You know, I think we've got 2 anchor sponsors that are look pretty promising. That's another $50,000. That gets us almost to 200. But I don't know either. I mean, I look at 132 versus 260, and there are some other expenses to add to it as well. I get that. There's at least one in here, I thought, to your point, Chase, that did include installation. And that was the company out of Georgia.
Yeah, Nebraska signed it too.
Yeah,
Okay.
And so does Varsity Group.
Yeah, I think there's only one that doesn't have
Yeah,
installation.
the fair play.
Yeah, the fair-
So I guess, you know, the people that should be, that we should be really concerned about are the ones that are giving us the money to do this. You know, the company that's writing us a check for $25,000, are we gonna put the best product up there, the one we showed them in the presentation, or are we gonna put a different one up there? And maybe we do, and they're, you know, I mean, we sort through all this information and find out that that's the best route. I'm, you know, this is an open discussion.
Well, here on the one, it says 640 by 1152.
Which one are you looking at,
On the
Jason?
crouch line.
Okay.
You add almost 30 grand, so that must be like a sharper picture. So that would be comparable to
You're on,
the last page of the couch. It says it's in the freight.
upgrade option.
Yeah. So that's in the one that's for 136 on the Nebraska sign. So bigger numbers must be.
If you look at the Varsity Group quote, that their second board is about half the size.
No.
So that's a smaller board than the they're quoting there, so that's not apples to apples bid, I don't think. They might.
Because they got a big one and a
installation
little one.
But they have one that's the size that we asked for 2, and then the second one they throw in is like, it's 4 by 8, it is not 8 by 14.
That's like the one at Raymond Central. Because they got a big one on the roof.
Is that score vision? Yeah, so that is, yep, that is the score vision one, so that would be like what they have at Raymond Central, yes.
Mr. Shada, and I think I know the answer, but so how much do we know about the software, the user interface that drives these? Is there a standard? I mean, I think you were talking about that earlier, but right over my head.
So a lot of it comes back to being a run on an iPad, which makes it a lot easier to use.
Okay.
And that really helped build those pieces to it. I was talking to a guy the other day that from a school that a principal helped put that part together. And he actually said, yeah, I wasn't really for it, but he goes, it actually really works pretty slick. And they have this from American Lift and Sign Crouch Red. He said, yeah, you do some training, but he said it's not, you know, it's something that you can't figure out because they make it so user friendly that you are on a touch screen putting it together. And does that answer what you're asking, Matt, there, that you put those pieces in?
A little bit. Would it be the same across many of these products? The same interface?
I don't know about any of the other interfaces.
Okay.
I know one school in our conference that I believe has a store vision there. and that's, I think Raymond Central has that. I don't know what the interface looks like on that piece of it though.
Okay.
I was assuming they're probably similar ideas, you know, that's gonna be a lot easier to put into play.
Is there a subscription fee? So we have to pay for the,
I saw there's
Not
one of
that.
them.
Not on
what is
Daktronics,
this one? Okay.
not on Daktronics, but on, I think the Sport.
I saw there's
Oh,
others,
yeah.
Yeah, Sport has a subscription fee.
but with Daktronics or something.
No,
So, and it's like $6,000.
And there's no like upgrade fee or anything with their
no, they push
program
it.
either?
No, they kind of, you know, I guess I'll keep using that Apple example, they keep pushing it to you
Yeah.
for about being a faithful customer.
Yeah.
So they just front loaded a lot of their costs.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, you're not paying it for later like some of these other guys have done.
I think what's so unique here is we're so used to looking at bids and proposals that impact the budget here at the school. I don't know the last time we've looked at, I haven't in my tenure. Shannon, Matt, Jason, I don't know if you've ever looked at proposals when it's fundraising dollars. Usually we don't get it into that. So I think to Matt's point here, I think it's kind of a different ballgame, if you will, because we're not talking about the levy and taxpayer dollars. We're really talking about the fundraisers and what they're willing to do and what they want to do. So I think I gotta remember that because I think we get so used to looking at it the other way around. So I guess my caveat would just be, I know we're at 140K and change, is, yeah, I definitely think we need to look at it at the fundraising end, just with the caveat here, if we go the more expensive route, that with the understanding that no taxpayer dollars will be used to fund this out of our budget.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think that's a good point, Jason. I think when we met, like Jason and Matt and I and Dr. Lewis, and when we talked to these local companies, that they affirm that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, and Matt can talk to them, Jason can talk about that. They're excited about that. Like, yeah, we don't want any tax dollars to touch this. We want to be able to support this. Oh, for lack of better term, someone that's in like a thing that you can add to help your kids. You know, that they're pretty excited about that. And they did look at the prices and they asked, they go, that's a lot, but you know, when they see the prospectus, go, man, if I was a high school kid, I'd be pretty jacked about that coming to my building. You know, and so that's kind of the piece of the attitude there too. I don't disagree.
Well,
What
the
it
other-
is, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just gonna say, the thing is, when though year 5 is up, because the biggest thing is to renew those.
What do we do if our fundraising falls short? I mean, that is always a possibility. Of
Sure.
course, none of us hope that happens, but what then?
So, Dr. Lewis did us a strength finder. The number one thing on mine is belief, so I don't believe that'll happen. Number two,
Welcome to the real world, let's try that again.
I don't believe in strength
No.
finder tests
Yeah,
personally,
no.
so I'll start with that.
Huh. Yes, I know that mine's
you
deliberative, so I
could
thought about that
you
over
could ask
and
these
over.
two that I've worked with for a long time. Sometimes it's my worst straight. We're gonna do it.
Okay, well, I would like a different answer.
I don't believe in a different answer, but I think you're right. You have to answer that to the board, but I think Cassidy answered you in 30 days. We went from 0 to 147.5. I think that's our answer.
And I think too, that if you haven't met those commitments, let's say in the first 3 to 4 months, you keep asking, just because the
Right.
board is on the wall doesn't mean your effort is done.
Mhm.
And you get that up on the wall and you see those 4 anchor spots and maybe that business who is like, oh, that's what I was gonna get for my money, then they're convinced after they see it. So it doesn't end. You can still go out to people after, like on year 2 and year 3, if you're still falling short, because honest answer here is they're not all going to pay $25,000 up front.
Mhm.
So the cost does initially, those funds get deposited into the special building fund, and some of them will pay all $25,000 up front, but some of it will be over a 5-year period.
Mhm.
So you can do that a couple of ways. You can pay for it with existing district funds, which we do have in there, and then replenish. And just those are going towards that. So it's almost like a lease purchase, but it's not a formal agreement. Or you could take the money that you have already committed, which is, like the $147,500 that are already committed. Some of them will be paying in $25,000 commits. You can finance the rest of it through your local bank and wait for the rest of the funds to come in. So there's a couple of different plans like that. And so if you don't have it in the first 3 months, you just keep asking. You know, you go around, you talk to the ones that we might have missed that you see on somebody else's board. You're like, wait a minute, we didn't even think about them. But yeah, Mr. Shada is right. There's a lot of people that are still going to their boards and their CFOs and their CEOs over the next couple of months. This is a good time for companies to kind of donate some money if they're looking to do that, make a charitable donation before the end of the year, but that doesn't mean that they won't want to do, or a different company might be in a better position next year and they want to be in.
Yep.
So we'll keep looking, I guess is the answer, that if we don't get there, we don't give up. We keep asking. We don't just quit asking after 3 months and say, well, I guess that's all we're gonna get. You know, we keep going out. We keep putting ourselves out there.
So
So we-
along, sorry,
Go ahead.
along the same kind of line then, is we're gonna be refinishing our gym floor pretty soon. Are we gonna go back to these companies and ask if they want to be on the floor as well? Or is that just gonna come out of the funds that we already have?
We budgeted for that in the general fund. So we could do it one of two ways. I mean, if somebody wants their name on the floor, we could come back and ask the current sponsors on the floor, because there's a couple of them there that might want to be on there again. And there's a couple that will not be on there again because they're not in business anymore, right? But we did put enough money in the general fund for that. Roughly, it's gonna cost between $25,000 and $40,000 to redo that floor. We did budget for that in the general fund, so the money will be there by next summer when we're ready to do that. So we can look at that one of two ways.
Yeah, did you thought about like packaging it? Like,
We didn't, because the life of those is different, I think.
Yeah.
The life of the
It's a
gym
five
floor is
year.
different than the
Yeah.
life of
I'm just left in the gym
what
floor.
is that? Yeah.
To me, that's probably longer
It's
than
like a
Mr.
20-year,
Shea thinks.
yeah,
It's like
15
a,
to
it's like a 20.
depending on your usage.
You can stretch them further than that, but that really, you do get a lot of life out of roof finish on the gym floor. So-
Yeah.
I'd like to see the floor just a floor and then put the names on.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't want it to look like a NASCAR,
I
but.
mean, you could, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but schools that
Could be
look like
too
that,
much.
yeah, it's a lot.
You could absolutely do that. You could, just refinish your floor and have nothing but APS right on there and put your sponsors. on
Just
the
put an eagle in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's a
I agree.
possibility, and that, the floor is still something that we're working on designs on, and that's definitely up for discussion, yeah. So, but I wouldn't package them, my opinion, they're too separate.
I didn't
mean,
realize how long the floor
it's-
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ours is at like 15, yeah.
So is it fair to say, Dr. Lewis or Mr. Shea, that, so we already have the 50% up front, obviously, that they owe. And then the other 50%, I'm assuming, is upon completion of their job in the work order?
And actually, they would request less than 50% to get that order going. It was the $111,000 or $112,000, so we're committed over that.
I kind of remember
Already.
there being 3
Payments.
payments, is that correct?
Mr. Shada, I think, had those details.
Yeah, I would.
There was like the initial setup, and then once you got the boards in, and then once you got everything up and running,
Correct.
then there was a payment, so there's 3 separate payments.
Yeah, the first to get the equipment here to get us going is $111,732.50. That gets us here. Yeah, don't want you to miss that one. And then you have the next part that comes from that, like you said, Cassie, so you pay and get it up there.
Once it's up, so there are 3 payments or 2?
I would double check with Ryan, our rep there, that it's 2 or 3 for you. But on here, it does look like there's like 2 payments, but I do remember him talking about a 3rd payment there too. So I can double check that part for you.
And this quote expired, is that an issue?
No, we've talked quite often.
Okay.
They're obviously interested in what we're doing. So yeah, they'll just fine.
Are they interested enough to take a pinch off?
I did ask that, and they, I don't know what they gave back as an answer, a chuckle, I suppose. So,
This one for Dax, they don't say anything, they never told you anything about any sort of maintenance costs or anything like that for the next 5 years.
correct. And that,
So, I mean, they got some of these out in schools, I'm sure they do.
Mhm.
So
100%.
that's why I didn't know if you've talked to these schools that have had it, and if they're, if it's so much a year, is it 10, 20, 30,000 a year? I have no idea.
no, so when you pay for it, it's like, there's no on-current, yearly fee to have the software and things like that. it's why they're the leader in the industry, because we all have Daktronic boards in our gyms, you know what I mean? And so we don't pay them to continue to have it up, even though they're the older style. That's, you pay for them and you get to have your product there.
Have other schools, or I don't know if this came up, has there, obviously that's a giant board and it's really bright. Is there not a concern, but is there an increase in utility usage? Is that's gonna affect our budget?
It's actually down because
I was gonna say
it's
it's LED.
which is kind of crazy to think about, isn't it?
Pretty-
Yeah,
Yeah.
why isn't, I'm like, I know it's all LED lights, but all the other stuff that goes along with it.
It'll
is
probably
that
use
gonna-
less energy than your non-LED lights in your gym.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
they're-
yeah. Which is, it's a good point, yeah.
So, Dr. Lewis, on funding this with the funds that we currently don't have, that you basically pull out a special building, put to this, and then recoup it with the remaining sponsorship, are you able to track specific to this project, the outgoing and then the, what I call reimbursement? So if we ever get questions from a taxpayer,
Yeah,
we can show them, hey, here's the reimbursement to the fund, these X amount of dollars. So it's not kind of blended together, because that would be, I can see.
Right,
an
no,
issue.
absolutely. It's kind of like how I have, I mean, I've currently got a spreadsheet for the lease purchase, what's going out, what came in, that was lease purchase funds separate from the ones that were in the special building fund. So I
Okay.
kind of did that with our entire building project, but yeah, it would be something outside of e-finance that I would just keep track of and say, okay, we've received this, was deposited on this date, it increased our balance by this much in that, and that's where Jen and I would, because the deposit would be specific for that. So there might even be a different deposit code that we could use for that, because it would be grants and private donations instead of
I just think that's
taxes.
important.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we could
So,
do that. Yeah, you would look at that as private donations. You
It'll be-
deposited that as instead of taxes.
I do believe there is a code for
Yeah, this type of thing.
donation.
So, I mean, you could track your receipts in as far as that goes.
It's something
Because we did
can
levy
include.
like 250,000 in special building this year, on top of, what we had in there for the lease purchase to make sure we moved to get to that. But
'Cause we
this
could
would be a
include that
different
in-
receipt code going
Yeah.
in.
Because in year 6, there should be a positive in that account.
Yep.
If you
Yeah.
have just that, and then it will just grow 6, 7,
As
8.
those
9, 10.
renew.
That's another good point,
If they
Jason.
renew, right.
Is the positive side of this after 5 years. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, we're 200, I'm just looking at this wrong quote, 268,000. Once we reach that, that's, we have our sponsorship over 5 years. But if those renew, it's additional funds. Am I accurate with
Right.
that?
That's what a lot of them ask, Chase. And so they asked, like, what are you doing at 5? I said, knock on your door to renew it. And
Yeah.
then they said, what do you use the money for? I said, projects like this, that we raise the money for to help enhance our features for our kids. That's where, obviously you guys have.
5
been
years from
saying-
now, we'll have a different plan. Of,
Yeah,
what
I
that-
hope so.
what that
I
would
hope,
be
I
going
hope,
forward.
honest, well, you're gonna be mad at me, man. I hope that we're swinging bigger in 5 years. You know what I mean? And I hope you're going, geez, you asked us 5 years, that was crazy. I really, that's how.
How many events do we have in that gym? Have you ever stopped to add that up? I was thinking about that the other, between games and programs and FFA and FBLA and I mean,
The concerts and
Yeah.
the birthday
Yeah.
programs and graduation
Yeah.
and.
It's your middle
local
school
graduation
graduation.
and, there's a lot of, Yeah.
On average, probably twice a week, that's probably 70 events a year in there. So
I know, exactly.
but, so I kind of get the sense here maybe that we're getting close to a consensus, just backing up on this. I mean, the history on this, when we got the first proposal, we all looked at it and went, whoa. The only way we'll entertain this is if we can do it with private donations. So let's get out there and see what the temperature's like, so to speak, see what everybody's attitude is like. We were pleasantly surprised. At the last board meeting, we looked at this and said, boy, it sure feels pretty good out there. We got a lot of people that are solid babies. Let's go out and get contracts on them so we get them committed. And if we can come back to the board with enough money next month, meeting tonight, to cover the first payment, which was $112,000.
$111,732.50.
Yeah, and we are, $30,000 north of that. So, I mean, I think all of us are still a little uneasy with what things cost, this included. It's very expensive, but,
So we
every,
did have a bid for just one of these boards.
Okay.
Now, is that an option?
And that was about.
To still go with the same company, but to do one board instead of two,
And wait until next month or whatever?
so that we're sure of the funding
I'm
instead of
just
guessing
throwing
on
it
the
out
funding.
there if that makes,
The biggest thing is, if we come back and I'm with Jason, if we're gonna do this, I agree, yeah, we got 147,000 or whatever he got raised, I'm with that. But it's still gonna come out of the budget, but I know it's on the special, how do I wanna say this? It comes out of the new funding budget or whatever, the budget that's already there. But some of that's on 5-year commits, correct? So over 5 years, we'll get that money.
Right.
So I'm saying, it's gonna have to be covered somewhere in the budget somewhere.
yeah, so there's a cash outlay to buy this,
Mhm.
okay? Which will be 2 checks totaling the total bid.
I agree.
We've got one anchor sponsor that's already paid us $25,000 in full. I've got another check here for $25,000 to give to Mr. Shada, plus the commitments, and I don't know about the rest of them. Those are just my 2. So those are going to replenish.
Oh, sure, I agree with that.
Mhm.
I get that, but I'm just saying, because some of them are 5-year commits,
Yeah.
on 147,000.
Yeah.
Just,
It's a
it's
long-term.
gonna,
We have to
it's a
cover
long term
that
to get
money.
to get that money paid.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
trying to,
I know.
I'm trying to be devil's advocate here, because
Mhm.
a lot of people that I talk to, this has been a hot button this month, I can tell you, and I've
Sure.
been getting a lot of phone calls on
I've
it.
got a couple as well.
So I'm just, we gotta have this clear of how we're gonna do this, because I don't need to be on a hot button again this month like I had last month. So and I had a lot of phone calls, so I'm just saying, then people voted us in here, and that's why they put us on here to do this kind of stuff. And that's why I'm asking the question.
So Brian, from a budget standpoint, to answer that, in the special building fund, we currently have a balance that you looked at earlier that was, 1.17 million roughly. So, and that's without any donations towards this project in it. And we levied another $250,000 into the special building fund. Of that budget, you build a budget that basically spends it all, whether you do or not, and you carry over what you don't spend. So there is, you would initially, yes, have to spend money out of the special building fund that you would replace.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, in my opinion, you wouldn't ever look at a levy to cover that, because what we have committed is, the money is there to do what we have committed. We weren't talking about this when I built the budget. We weren't talking about this in August. So this is a brand new project. We're not going to increase the levy to cover it. Because what we need is in there, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then it will be replenished over the course of that. We could also set it up, like I said, we could go talk to RVR tomorrow and do local financing or finance through other avenues that Daktronics would have. And maybe your payments would not be more than you're collecting over those 5-year periods as well. We would come up with that first initial payment, and then the installments would be what we have committed to bring in. And again, we're still working on those commitments, but it's a great question, and it's one that I've struggled with too, because mine is deliberative, right? So I've been thinking about these things. So we would not be spending money that we did not budget on a technicality there to spend anyway. And we did not levy anything to pay for this project, and we would not intend to levy anything to pay for it in the future.
that's why years 6 to 10 is the most important.
6 to 10 are critical, absolutely.
Yeah, that's,
If in projecting here, if we could renew all these sponsorship opportunities in year 6, there's north of, just assuming we ask for the same amount of money, there's well north of $200,000 for years 6 through 10, that can be used for, who only knows what the needs will be.
Right.
At that point.
Mr. Shada, what happens, if we tell that, whatever company, hey, we only want one screen now, and we'll get back to you on another screen? What does that do as far as install prices, setup, because it changes the whole dynamic?
You're paying twice, yeah. Because they're billing you off of one time being here, your man hours, your time being here, put it there. So the advantage of doing two and getting it done with what we have going here, which is that they're one time. The people that have talked about donating the labor and the materials to do it, they're one time, which is another big piece of this. I don't know if you can ask a donor to come out twice to donate their time and their company's efforts. That's kind of a bigger ask too. And so that's kind of the nice part about if you did it, the two at one shot, you have that all done.
I don't have the best recollection, but they install on the two, they have this $46,370. I believe the install on one board was over 30,000. So if they were only coming once and if you wanted to bring them back later, you're looking at install costs that probably are 133% of what this is. You know what I mean? If you have to pay that 30-some thousand twice, you're over 60 versus 46 to do two of them. If we're gonna do that, so that's.
On the one board, they quote you about, like 42, that was quite a little bit different size.
Was it 42,000 for that one board install?
Yeah.
So.
It's a
my
little bit
memory is-
different, yeah.
I just worry about spending money, technically the school/district's money on something that we're hoping to replenish with funds that we haven't received yet. And I think that's a big concern from our taxpayers as well. It's hard to, and it's a different, like you said, it's different to think about this is all donations that we're using to pay for this. But up front, it's not. Up front, it's the taxpayers' dollars going in and then we're replenishing it with the donations. So there's still, it's like, what if something happens that we need to use that special building fund for and we don't have it? And, we're doing this for the entire school. We want to make sure that it's utilized able to be utilized by the entire school, not just the kids that are in athletics.
Of course.
Those are just different areas that I've thought about, heard of. So it's just like you said in the beginning, it's a weird topic. I mean.
Well, so an alternative funding solution is, to make this initial payment, put an order in. The school could always go to RVR and take out a loan for the balance and have monthly payments. And as these come in,
Annual
a 5-year
payments.
loan or
And when
annual
you collect.
payments.
So the thing with,
But there's
With
interest
the
in
But
that.
yeah, there's
too.
gonna be interest on
the
that.
commitment is, the interest rates are not very good.
Exactly.
But the interest, the contracts, it's like you have 5 installment payments due. They are due by this date on this year. So
Yes.
upfront, they know that they're going, it's not like, I'll tell them that, but I'm only gonna give them 5 or I'm
Yeah.
gonna give them 10 and then I'm gonna drop out. It's a contracted commitment and they know when their payments are due by.
Yes, I
so-
don't think that's a concern, that we know that those people that have signed the
Right.
contract are going to pay. But the point of it is where the school is having to pay the upfront cost.
Sure.
So I think that's more of a concern from that many of us are hearing from the public.
And the school and the public is worried about, what I specifically heard is worried about having all these funds replenished, that we have contracted with. And that's a valid concern. And, I've said this a couple times through here, if as a board, we go through with this and we say that we're gonna get this 100% funded, it's on the 6 of us to go out there and start knocking on doors. And I don't know what the breakdown is of funds raised per board member is, but it's, that's the promise we're making.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that.
Really, we're talking about 120K, really, that we are short as of right now.
Yeah.
We raised nearly 150 in
In a
30
month.
days,
Yeah.
you know. Our options are, we can vote on this tonight. We can keep raising money for another month. And I don't know how long the bid will be good for, and try to vote on it again in December when we have more commitments.
I think part of the reason we made those points last month and setting the dollar amount, because that was a hard thing to come up with, was so that we can utilize this board with this year's graduation and different things that are coming up.
Yeah.
If we wait another month, do you have an idea of where that would push us back to
I don't know if you'll get it, you know, I don't.
by May?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm hopeful, you know,
I think the target
I'm
was
really
like,
hopeful that we can get it sooner. Too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
But-
if we had decided in October, they could tell us January.
Yeah.
If we decided November, it was gonna be like March.
In February, March, yeah, so you wait another month, I don't know, you know what I mean? They don't, like I told you, I wasn't blowing smoke at you, they have the parts, they have the stuff, but you're one of many people ordering boards, so it's just a
Yes.
matter where you're in the line of production,
Yep.
so.
Anybody care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve contract with Crouch Recreation Inc. for $268,625 for digital scoreboards in the competition unit.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Chase and Cassie. It's been moved and seconded. We say this a lot, but is there any more discussion?
I think we just need to, I think we discussed all the context and everybody's concern. I think it really comes down to the concern of using $120K out of the special building fund that's there and replenishing it. So everybody said it, but I can't say it enough. We need to track that very carefully. And we need to definitely continue with fundraising to, as soon as possible, meet this goal of 268. Because I think the longer that stretches out, the more worrisome it is for a number of different reasons.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, I expect, final payment will be depending on when installation happens. Let's say it's April 1st. We have December, January, February, and March to find that
It's a good point.
less than what we've already raised in 30 days. I mean, I think we're gonna be fully committed when this final bill comes in. We will have,
And that would still be under one budget year cycle.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because that's another point
Yeah,
too.
no, we'd still be in this budget cycle. And, one thing to keep in mind too is that 2 commitments have already written us checks for $25,000. So of that $111,000 to get the order going, we already have 50 in hand. And we can drop those first year commitments from the other ones. We're only gonna do 1 year or like one installment at a time as well.
Can
So-
I kind of request that we are kept up on that every month?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Put
can
it
be
in the
added to
superintendent's
our,
report.
putting that in the report so that we know where we're standing, are we
It's outstanding.
behind, or,
Yeah, I can do it every week.
That'd be good.
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're being held accountable and we need to make sure that we're keeping track of it.
oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
In fact, we've already got a sheet started with the amount of donations that we've got commitments for and the amount I've paid. So
Perfect.
we've got that. If you can see that we will become freestanding. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that we can't share a fillable Google Doc with you or something like that, but I can push that out to you as information at the end of each week.
Can we do a PDF
Hmm.
so that we can view it a little
So
easier?
Jason
Those
can open
dang.
Gosh. It's like, what was my password again?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
No, it's super easy to export that as a PDF. Yeah, no
Cool.
problem. Yeah,
Great.
that's the easiest question. So, thanks.
any more discussion?
That's my dad.
Let's call the vote, please.
Cass Lester,
Yes.
Chase Creditor,
Yes.
Brian Locker,
No.
Matt O'Daniel,
Yes.
Shannon Wilmot,
Yes.
Jason Oak.
Yes. Okay, very good. Motion carries. We all know what our marching orders are. We'll have work to do.
Thanks for your guys' trust to keep going. I appreciate that.
Big one, Ms. Shada. Thanks for bringing it to us. Excited to see it hanging up there, you know? Yeah.
As a side note on that, I didn't know we took about, I know we're done with the vote thing, but, we originally had talked about like the sponsors and everything and how we all can't be in one email and all that kind of stuff because of rules. Is there a way that we can like get like call-ins? Can we still like call you and say, hey, can you send me what you have so we can add to a list or something, or?
Yeah.
How does that
I'd
work?
like to know who's donated, just so.
Yeah, I can get that out to you tomorrow. I can send you.
Push that out
If we
tomorrow. I've
do
got a
them
couple contracts
individually,
here.
can we, is it
Yeah.
okay then? If like,
We just can't reply all, and we
Yeah.
can't have something that you can all like actually contribute to.
but we can all be in contact with you or with
Yeah.
Mr. Shada.
You bet.
So like he could send out an email each week to all of us. I'm not saying you have to, this is an idea. You have like sending out weekly, this is what came in, this, oh, I have this person that you should contact, or that, how do I contact this person?
Flow
So we
those
can all
through
be
us.
in it,
Yeah,
but
flow
it's
that
still
through
kind of
us.
going through the office.
flow that through us.
Okay.
Let us
I-
know.
I mean, to be honest, Cassie, when we've been doing this for the last month, I've been messaging, Jason and Matt and Dr. Lewis anytime we get people in or back and
Mhm.
forth.
Yeah.
Just so they know, because I'm excited about it. Like, hey, we
Yeah.
got 25K again. We're doing well here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so
I think
people
it'd be
say, hey,
good to, especially since the whole board voted on it, moving forward to get the whole board knowing what's going on. Because I think we're all being held accountable by the community
Yeah.
to know what's going on too.
So that's what they're saying is that the whole board can get the email. You just can't reply
all, yeah.
all back.
Yep.
So if you
Okay.
have something specific, you just need to respond to Dr. Lewis and
Yep.
ask your question or say.
Or
can I
Mr.
take-
Shada.
Yes.
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 Okay. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay.
9.3 is discuss and consider a community engagement meeting to be held January 29th, 2024.
I already have it on my calendar. So
Yeah.
it looks great. Yep. There's nothing on that day.
So format, surveys, timelines, I think that's what this discussion is. We know when we're going to have it. I think there was some comments or discussion earlier that maybe we want to look at getting our surveys out sooner. Possibly, was that your?
There was a survey that went out last week, 2 weeks ago. Anybody?
Yeah. That was for some of our, what's the word I'm looking for? Advanced ed.
Oh, our accreditation. Yeah,
Accreditation.
we survey every year
Oh,
Yeah.
on those.
okay.
Those are pretty
Those are like-
specific to.
Yeah, they're kind of climate or something like that.
Okay. That was a good survey. You are, I don't use them.
There's some great tools from the Department of Education. Yeah.
Okay.
They went out to,
Parents, okay.
So,
Well, that wasn't bad.
first of all, is there any appetite for the board to bring in an outside moderator, i.e. an ASB or Marcia Herring? We've done that in the past. We did not do that last year. I have one personal preference, but this is a board decision, so.
I think, I like the way Marcia approaches community engagement. It's a little bit more, communicative, I guess. The presentation that you did was good, but I think it was very detail heavy.
Just giving all the information and not really a lot of conversation.
Right, and I think Marcia's like up here, and then I think the conversations are easier. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but when we've had her come in the past, I think it feels more conversational rather than details, which were good, just, it was just
Yeah.
very
well, it was
detailed.
a first.
Yeah,
Right.
oh, yeah.
They do a very good job, whether it's Marcia or Katie or whoever would come out. And they have good surveys that they can send out. They can help us through that process. I think the reason why this board moved away from that, there was discussion about having that outside moderator kind of their presence there made it feel not so community-based, that they were running it. You know, we tried to put a presentation together as a first year and yeah, it sure could have been better.
Well,
And I don't know, Shannon, I mean, I'm with you. She always does a good job. She had tables broken out into work groups, and I think that helped.
I think we're filling out, a couple of things, like, we did the survey up front, so we knew what they wanted to know more about. And it just happened to be a year where there were lots and lots of questions that were getting fired at us about the budget anyway, so
Yeah.
we got pretty detailed heavy in some of the other things. And we didn't know what to expect as far as people who actually attended, and so, like, what did we have, between teachers and patrons? 50 to 60, it seems like. So yeah, we just didn't know like what to expect as far as breakout groups.
Yeah.
Well, and that year we had that, last year when we had that, the levy went up, how much?
Yeah.
It was up a bunch, and now this year, you're looking at that levy gonna be down.
Well, there's
This
always
year,
a
I have, the biggest thing is I gotta see how much the
figure is
committee's
down
even,
for each year.
because nobody said anything. I mean, it just talking to people, they haven't said anything.
Not
about
even thanks.
this. No, I'm not getting
Of
nothing.
course
We don't
not.
expect it, that's
Yeah.
what we do.
No, but that's the biggest thing,
Right.
and that's what I'm just saying, if it's something with I got no problem with Marcia, I got nothing to say against her, but I think it was just one of those years when you do that, you get that sort of interaction, so.
Well, then you get people that wanna know more about the budget, and then other people say, well, that was a waste of time. I don't wanna know.
Yeah, it's hard to target,
And they're usually married to each other.
Yeah, cause there's like, I don't care about any of
They
this.
are.
Well, then,
I'll
yeah,
say it.
Yeah,
they were.
because you know who it was.
concerns about athletics, there's, there's always, staff and teachers there as well, and, should we reach out to NASB and see if somebody's available and what their format might look like and their timeline, and this will be,
In the workshop I attended
Yeah,
at
Marcia
that
was very
Fremont,
willing to come last year.
yeah, the workshop we went to in Fremont, of the people, I went to one where they talked about surveys.
Mhm.
And of all the people that have done them in the past, they all used Marcia or some group, and they said
Okay.
it went great. Because not only did they work with them to create the questions,
Mhm.
but then the whoever the company was helped them to analyze the data.
okay,
And then, it was anonymous yet not, there was accountability, but yet it was anonymous to everybody else. So it was presented really well too.
okay,
So I think we should go ahead
all right.
asking for help.
So, Dr. Lewis can reach out to her, are you guys, and
Hey,
so.
we're gonna see her the next couple of days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true, we're gonna see her
sure.
Thursday. Also between now and the next board meeting, though, in order to make this happen, we're gonna have to make some decisions as far as, I don't know what they are, but so you're gonna have to potentially give Dr. Lewis and I a little leeway to do that. We can keep you up to speed on it.
First thing we'll do is find out if she's available on
Yeah.
the date.
Got it, okay.
Can we just be kept in the loop about that via email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you bet. Okay. And, hey, thanks for sticking with us tonight, guys. You thought we were kidding when, we talked about it being the longest meeting. We were not. So the final item on the agenda, I think it's the final
Well, there's two
item.
more.
Second.
Okay. Our next agenda item is, 9,000 section of our policies. These are the policies that outline the duties, responsibilities, mechanics, the how-tos and the whys of our school board. I don't know if there's anything that needs to be pulled out and changed. I don't think so.
No, there's nothing I don't think that needs to be changed, but there are a couple of things. Most of these are one-liner or short paragraphs or
Okay.
whatever. I wanted to point out that policy 9120, which is how we elect officers, our 9120 refers to electing the president and the vice president. However, 8130 is the policy that I talked about earlier, and I think I emailed at one point in time where I said we're going to have to elect a president, a vice president, a secretary, and treasurer this year. So they look contradictory, but they're really not. I just wanted to point that out, that the two of them kind of play together, and we will still have to elect the secretary and treasurer this year, and that was on Marcia Herring's, because I did email her, and she
Okay.
said you better do it.
All right.
And 9300 is an interesting one, because it says in odd years, your January board meeting should be the Thursday immediately after the first Tuesday, not the Monday where we normally do it. And I cannot find historically where they've had a Thursday meeting every other January. And I think the intent of that is in election year cycles, so if you're seating new board members, they're supposed to be seated by the Thursday after that. So anyway,
Wow.
interesting, right? So we'll have to take a look at that. So we've missed that a couple times, and I again, I can't find historically that they have done that, but.
I can't think of a January board meeting that didn't happen on the second Monday.
So maybe in 2025, when we're seating new board members again, because 24 will be an election year for some of you. So we'll try and make that happen in January 2025.
Couldn't have a long, but it's on or after, so it's or.
Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, will be held on or after the first Thursday, after the first
It is.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
So you can still do it on Monday as long as.
But
You can still do it on Monday.
the second Monday.
Are they just saying that you can't do it before?
It says, "The board shall meet in regular session on the second Monday of each calendar month unless otherwise designated. In odd numbered years, the January meeting will be held on or after the first Thursday."
Yeah,
So after the first Tuesday. It all
After a
depends on how
full week.
Tuesdays stand.
So if January doesn't start until Wednesday, we can't have our meeting until the second.
We'll figure it
we'll
out.
let our
Whatever, this is
secretary,
dumb.
yeah.
It's a policy that's based on statute, and we will interpret it when the time comes. Sounds great.
You're gonna do
Anything else there, Dr. Lewis?
No, those are the ones that I
Okay.
wanted to drop.
Thank you. The final item on tonight's agenda is 9.5, discuss, consider, and take necessary action to approve the cooperative agreement with Integrated Life Choices for special ed related services for the 23-24 school year.
And so we've done this with them in 2 years already. They have taken a different approach this year rather than it just being an MOU and we signed it. Like the board has approved that the past couple of years. We've done that, yeah. This one that they need a cooperative agreement on file in order to be registered as a related services provider for Arlington schools. So what they had been doing basically is they had a generic one, and when we submitted our sped reimbursement, we could pull the generic one. I went in to submit our sped reimbursement this year, and they had one for like 4 other school districts, but not Arlington. I'm like, which one am I supposed to choose? And they're like, well, none. You can't. So I thought we were going to lose that reimbursement. So the NDE was gracious enough because this is not something that we do. It's something that Integrated Life Choices has to do. They have to go through the proper channels to become a service provider for us.
Integrated Life Choices
Yeah.
is kind of our conduit to its
With
wings.
wings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's why we're doing a cooperative agreement as well as the MOU that we've already signed with them here.
So nothing's changing financially
No.
or curricular or anything like that. It's just the paperwork to be able to be reimbursed.
Yes, and they did allow us to get last year's in. They said, we'll give you.
I will make a motion to approve cooperative agreement with ILC and related services for the 23-24 school year as presented.
Thank you, Cassie and Shannon. It's been moved and seconded. There's probably not any more discussion, but any more discussion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Chase Craddock,
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel,
Yes.
Shannon Momont, Jason Arnold,
Yes.
Cassie Fleischer.
Yes.
All right, very good. Motion carries. We can adjourn the November meeting at 9:03. You guys awake?
Sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That was.
Holiday.